You've just heard The Lord Bless Us by Robert White, as sung by the choir of Clare College, Cambridge, Timothy Brown, director. Next we will hear a piece by William Byrd. You just heard the Sanctus and Benedictus from the Mass for Five Voices by William Byrd, the Christ Church Cathedral Choir, directed by Stephen Darlington. Next, a piece by Lorenzo Allegri.
Gloria Patri Filio Spiritus Sanctus, super erat in principio et nunc et semper in saeculos. Deus in nomine tuus salve in Patrem et Deus et Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Christe eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. Dominus vobiscum. Oremus. Vertamus celum Presta quesimus omnipotens Deus ut observationes sacras annua devotione recolentes, et cooperativi placeamus in mente. Per Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum Fitem Tuum, qui tecum vita regnat unitate Spiritus Sancti, Deus per saecula saeculorum. Oremus. Ne despices omnipotens Deus populum tum afflictione clamantem, que propter gloriam nominis tui tribulati secure placatus. Ore digne Sancti Spiritus Renis nostrum et por nostrum, Domine, ut tibi castor corpore serviamus, mundo fore placiamus, per Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum Fideum Tuum, qui tecum vita regnat unitate Spiritus Sancti, Deus et Spiritus Sancti, Deus per nos saecula saeculorum. Amen. Lexio Libri Regum. In Diego Sidis venerunt due mulieres meretrices ad regem Salomonum, steteruntque coram eo, coram una ais. Obsecromi Domine ego et mulier, et habitabamus in domum unam. Et peperi apud eam in cubiculo, perse autem die postum ego peperi tete. Et eramus simul, volusque alius nobis in domum, receptis nobis duabus. Mortus est autem filius mulieris et huius nocte, dormiens quipe oppressit eum. Et consurgens in tempeste noctis silentio, tuli filium meum de lapide meo ancile tue dominentis, et collocavit in sino suo. Suum autem filium, qui erat mortus, posuit in sino meo, cumque surrexis humanae, et tarum lac filio meo, appariut mortus, quam diligentius intuens flare luce, deprehendi non esse meum, quam gen eram. Responditque altera mulier, non est ite ut dicis, sed filius tuus mortus est, meus autem vivit, et contrario illa diceva, mentiris, filius quipe meus vivit, filius tuus mortus est. Aquae nunc modum contendebant coram legem. Tunc vexae, ec dicit, filius meus vivit, et filius tuus mortus est. Et isto respondit, non et sed filius tuus mortus est, meus autem vivit. Dixit errores, afferte mihi gladium, cumque atubissem gladium coram legem, dividite, inquit infantem, vivum in tuos partes, et date dimidiam partem uni, et medium partem alteri. Dixit autem mulier, cuius filius erat vivus, ad regem commota sunt quipe viscera eus super filio suo. Obsecro Domine date ili infantem vivum, et nullite interficere eum, et contrario illa diceva, nec mihi, nec tibi si, sed dividator. Respondit rex, ait et ait. Date huic infantem vivum, et non occidatur, ec est inhumater Deus. Audivit itaque omnis Israel judicium, quod judicaset rex, et fimu erunt regem, vidente sapientiam Dei esse in eo ad faciendum judicium. Esto mihi in Deo protectorem et in locum refugi ut salvum me faciens. Deus in te speravi, Domine non confundare in te. Domine non secundum peccata nostra quae fecimus nos, neque secundum iniquitatis nostras virtuos nobis. Domine nem mineris iniquitatum nostrarum antiquarum, cito anticipent nos misericordiae Tue, quia paperes facti sumus nimis. Ageva nos, Deus salutaris noster, et propter gloriam nominis Tui Domine, libera nos, et propitius est peccatis nostris, propter nomen Tuam. Dominus vobiscum, sequentia Sancta Evangelis cum Ioannem. In illo tempore prope erat Pascha Judaeorum, et ascendi Iesus, viero soliman, et invenit in templo vendentes robes, et columbas, et numularios sedentums, et confecisset quasi flagellum de funiculis, omnes eiexit de templo, oves coque, et robes, et numularium fuit eis, et mensas subvertit, et is qui columbas vendebant dixit, offerte ista hic, et nolite facere domum patris mei, domum negatiationis. Recurrati sunt vero discipuli eius quia scriptum est, zelus dominus tuae comedit me, responderunt ergo Judei, et dixerunt ei. Quod signum ostendis nobis quia hic facis? Respondi Iesus et dixit eis. Solvite templum hoc, et in tribus diebus excipabo ibi. Dixerunt ergo Judei. Quadraginta et sext annis edificatum est, templum hoc, et tu in tribus diebus excitabis ibi? Ille autem dicebat de templo corporis sui, cum ergo resurrexis et a mortuis recordati sunt discipuli eius. Quia hoc dicebat, et crediderunt scripturae et sermoni, quam dixit Iesus. Cum autem esset Hierosolimis in Pascha in die festo, multi crediderunt in nomine eius, vidente signa eius, quae faciebat. Ipse autem Iesus non credebat sine ipsum eis, eo quod ipse nos et omnes, et quia opus ei non erat, et quis testimonium percide vere de hominem. Ipse enim scieba, quid esset in hominem. A reading from the third book of Kings. In those days there came two women that were harlots to King Solomon, and stood before him, and one of them said, I beseech thee, my lord, I and this woman dwelt in one house, and I was delivered of a child with her in the chamber. And the third day after that I was delivered. She also was delivered, and we were together, and no other person with us in the house, only we two. And this woman's child died in the night, for in her sleep she overlaid him. And rising in the dead of time of the night, she took my child from my side, while I, thy handmaid, was asleep, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. And when I rose in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead. But considering him more diligently when it was clear day, I found it was not mine which I bore. And the other woman answered, It is not so as thou sayest, but thy child is dead, and mine is alive. On the contrary, she said, Thou liest, for my child liveth, and thy child is dead. And in this manner they strove before the king. Then said the king, The one saith, My child is alive, and thy child is dead. And the other answereth, Nay, but thy child is dead, and mine liveth. The king therefore said, Bring me a sword. And when they had brought a sword before the king, Divide, said he, the living child in two, and give half to the one and half to the other. But the woman whose child was alive said to the king, for her heart was moved for her child, I beseech thee, my lord, give her the child alive, and do not kill it. But the other said, Let it be neither mine nor thine, but divide it. The king answered and said, Give the living child to this woman, and let it not be killed. For she is the mother thereof. And all Israel heard the judgment which the king had judged. And they feared the king, seeing that the wisdom of God was in him to do judgment. The Lord be with you. We're reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. John. Glory to you, O Lord. At that time the Pasch of the Jews was at hand, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem, and he found in the temple them that sold oxen and sheep and doves, and the changers of money sitting. And when he had made it, as it were, a scourge of little cords, he drove them all out of the temple, the sheep also and the oxen, and the money of the changers. He poured out, and the tables he overthrew. And to them that sold doves he said, take these things hence, and make not the house of my Father a house of traffic. And his disciples remembered that it was written, the zeal of thy house hath eaten me up. The Jews therefore answered and said to him, what sign dost thou show us unto us, seeing thou dost these things? Jesus answered and said to them, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. The Jews then said, 46 years was this temple in building, and wilt thou raise it up in 3 days? But he spoke of the temple of his body. When therefore he was risen again from the dead, his disciples remembered that he had said this, and they believed the scripture and the word that Jesus had said. Now when he was at Jerusalem at the Pasch upon the festival day, many believed in his name, seeing his signs which he did. But Jesus did not trust himself unto them, for that he knew all men, and because he needed not that any should give testimony of man, for he knew what was in man. The gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. So, greetings to the Congregation of Holy Martyrs, those who are tuning in, as well as to others on Instagram. Today, we heard from the famous reading from Solomon about the wisdom of Solomon and the argument with the two women disputing over the child. And then we heard in the gospel about Jesus' zeal, and that's an important thing. That's what I want to focus on today. Jesus' zeal comes out obviously most clearly. It says, zeal for my house hath eaten me up. That's from, I believe, Psalm 69. And the disciples saw that as a prophecy of Christ, as taking a whip of cords, throwing over the table, just showing some real manly zeal there. And that's something that is largely lost in our world today. Christianity, as C.S. Lewis would call it, we have Christianity in water, in the sense that Christianity is merely about being a nice guy and things like that. And certainly kindness, of course, kindness, I use the word kindness instead of niceness. Nice is, in my opinion, kind of a weak word, but kindness is certainly a part of charity. Charity is patient, charity is kind.
We didn't just stand.
As Catholic psychiatrist Conrad Barrs says, we need to utilize anger in all of us, and in particular men, because their role in leadership and protecting, but everyone, men and women, need to utilize the emotion of anger in a proper manner. Obviously, we need to be, aware that there is a deadly vice and inclination given the name of anger. Okay, it's one of the deadly sins, meaning that the emotion of anger is a difficult emotion to use virtuously. However, and thus we have that deadly sin called anger. However, that doesn't mean that we, first of all, it doesn't mean that every movement of anger is sinful. It may or may not be. And more to the point, we need to be aware that though anger can be difficult to use virtuously, we have to try to use it virtuously as Christ did, especially in this day and age in which there's so many evils. I mean, the devil is just going to laugh at us if we don't utilize righteous anger. And I emphasize righteous, just anger against the evils of the world, whether it's the slaughter of unborn children at the rate of 3,000 to 4,000 children a day, to rampant pornography and the objectifying of women in so many ways, to infringements on our religious liberty in so many ways. I mean, these things need to be fought vigorously, and the emotion that's utilized in fighting is the emotion of anger. Jesus did it here. And again, I'm not justifying just rampant uses, unjust uses of anger. That's don't take me that way. There is an unjust way to use anger, whether we're angry at something that's not a real injustice, or if we use, if we retaliate in a measure that's not commensurate with the offense. If there is an injustice, but we retaliate beyond what's deserved. We want to avoid that, but while avoiding that evil, we want to do the good of using anger in a proper way. And that begins with fighting our own sins, using anger to fight our own weaknesses. Start there before looking at society's ills, although we have to do that too. But look at, especially in this Lent, look at our weaknesses, the vices that we are fighting, our weaknesses, our bad habits, and utilize a righteous anger against our own bad habits. whatever it might be, whether it's pride, greed, lust, disordered anger in itself, gluttony, envy, or sloth, all those 7 deadly sins. So we need to fight our own weaknesses, and then conquering by the power of Christ our own weaknesses, we can then be better able to serve the church and conquer the ills in society. So through the intercession of Saint Joseph, Our Lady, of course, and all the angels and saints of God, may all of us utilize the emotion of anger in a righteous manner, not in an unrighteous manner, but in a righteous manner, to fight our own sins as well as the evils of the world. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dominus vobiscum. Oremus. Jubilate Deo, omnis terra, servite Dominum in laetitia, entrate in conspecta eius in exaltationem, qui Dominus ipse est Deus. Orate, fratres.
Deus sacrificio de maleficios en honor of the Lord, et we talk about the Lord of Titles, Spirit of the
Domino secula seculorum, Dominus vobiscum, spurus in cora, gratias camus Dominum Deum nostrum. Vede dignum iustum est cum salutari nos sibi semper vico gratias agere Domine sancte Pater omnipotens et Deus, Qui parale iuni auditio comprimis, metum elevans, virtutum agiris optenia per Christum Domini nostrum, per cum aestatum tuum darunt angeli, gloram dominatium extremum potestatis, celi ceruque virtutes ac beatas seraphim, solcex locatum concertatis, cum quibus in nostros voces tu emiti jubileas proclamant, supplici cum tessim dicentes, Sanctus, 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 Dominus Deus Sabaoth, plenus in celi et terra gloria tua, Hosanna in excelsis. Benedictus qui venit in nomine Domini, Hosanna in excelsis. nobis quoque peccatoribus. Per omnia saecula seculorum. Oremus perceptis salutaris moniti et ministris in mati et justitia. Pater noster qui es in celis sanctificetur nomen tuum. Adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimitte nobis debitum nostrum, sicut et nos dimittimus debitoribus nostris, et in nos inducas in tentationem. Omnia saecula seculorum. Pax Dominus et semper vobiscum. Agnus Dei qui tollis peccatum miserere nobis. Agnus Dei qui tollis peccatum miserere nobis. Agnus Dei qui tollis peccatum miserere nobis pacem. Domine non sum minus. Domine non sum minus. Domine non sum minus.
Abbraccia always until the accommodation position with attachment to transfer battery university. Until the constant special for every temperature the project will be having special something. Nel gruppo, nel gruppo, nel massimo gruppo. I difficolty di accendere il seguito di viaggio natural battery. Sunset process project on the temperature partial
Mr. Devastri omnipotens Deus et consecratis vestris pluta vos avis meternam.
Amen.
Nobis nostris nunc, nos in peccatorem nostrorum, pro vobis omnipotens Deus Dominus. Actionis Dei exuitori peccatum. Domine non sum dignus redensus protectum meum, se tantum et verbos navitor. Domine non sum dignus redensus protectum meum, se tantum et verbos navitor anima meum. Domine non sum dignus redensus protectum meum, sed tantum et verbos navitor. Jesus, Holy Avocatis meis mundo mei, Domine, et ab alienis pace servo tuo. Dominus vobiscum. Oremus. Sumptis Domine salvatoribus sacramentis, ad redemptionis aeternae quaesumus perfectionis argumentum. Per Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum filium tuum, qui tecum vivere in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus per nos saecula saeculorum.
Amen.
Oremus. Tribulationem nostrum quaesumus Domine propitius respice, et iram tuae indignationis quam iuste medemo agerte. Domine adiutor et protector nostrum, adiuvanus, et reflorea core caro nostra vigore pudicitiae et testimoniae novitate, ut per hoc sacrificium coro tuae obtulimus pietati, ab omnibus tentationibus emendemo, per Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum filium tuum, qui tecum vivere in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus per nos saecula saeculorum.
Amen.
Oremus. Humiliate capita vestra Deo, deprecationem nostrum quaesumus Domine benignus exaudi, et quibus supplicandi destas effectum turbae defensionis auxilium, per Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum filium tuum, qui tecum vivere in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus per nos saecula saeculorum.
Amen.
Dominus vobiscum, benedicamus Domino.
Dear Francis,
Benedicat vos, omnipotens Deus, Pater et Filius et Spiritus Sanctus.
Amen.
Dominus vobiscum, benedictum
Benedictum
Sancti Evangelis cum Ioannem. In principio erat verbum, et verbum erat Deus erat verbum, hoc erat principio apud Deum. Omne ipsum factus sunt. Et sine ipso factum est nihil, quod factum est. In ipso vita erat, et vita erat lux hominum. Et lux in templis luce contemper eam nunc venderunt. Quid homisus ad Deo qui nomen erat Johannes, hic venit in testimonium. Ut testimonium fibrit illumine, ut omnes crederet per illum. Nor erat ille lux, sed testimonium fibrit illumine. Erat lux vera qui illuminat omnem hominum venietum in hunc mundo. Mundo erat mundus spiritus et factus est mundus eum nunc novi. In propria venit et sui eum non ceperunt. Quod altrum ceperunt eo. Veri eis potestatem Filius Dei fieri, visque venit in nomina eius, qui non sanguinibus, neque spontet canis, neque spontet viris, sed Deo natis sunt. Et verbo caro factum est, et habitabit in nobis. Et vidimus gloriam eius gloriam causa ingentia et passion per gratia veritatis. Ave Maria, gratia plena Dominus tecum, benedicta tu mulieribus et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Ave Maria, gratia plena Dominus tecum, benedicta tu mulieribus et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Ave Maria, gratia plena Dominus tecum, benedicta tu mulieribus et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Salve Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo et spes nostra salve. A te clamamus, exoles fili ebene. A te suspiramus, cementes et flentes, in hac lacrimarum vale. Ea ergo, advocatum nostrum, ilos tuos misericordes oculos ad nos convertem, et Iesum, benedictum fructum ventris tui, nobis post hoc exilium ostende, o clemens, otilia, vocis Virgo Maria, ora pro nobis sancta Dei genitrix, nuestros. Oremos, Deus refugium nostrum et virtus, proclamate clamantum propitius respice, et inciderente gloriosa Immaculata Virgine Dei Genitrix Maria, cum beati Joseph et responso ac gratis posuituis Petro Paulo omnibus sanctis, quas per inversione pecatorum, per libertate et exaltation sanctum ascens ecclesiae, per te secundibus misericordia divinis exaudi Domini Christum Dominum nostrum. Amen. Sancta Michael Arcangelo, defendi nostrum credium, contra recrissimus dias diaboli est presidium, imperet ibi Deus, supervis de peccamur, tuque, princeps pollicis celestis, Satanam, aliusque spiritus malignos, qui et petitionum animam grande mundo, divina virtute et infinitum decude. Amen. Curios Sanctissimum misere nobis, Curios Sanctissimum misere nobis, Curios Sanctissimum misere nobis. Okay, so thank you for joining in on the Mass. Tomorrow, same time, as far as I know, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific Time. For those of you watching from Facebook, the Holy Martyrs group, you can, if you have Instagram, my account is FRALANB, Father Alan B, FRALANB, and I've been streaming some other prayers. Rosary, I'll do a rosary tonight. I think I said to the Instagram people I would be doing it now, but I won't be doing it now. I'll be doing it later. It'll be what time? 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Rosary and Compline at that time. And just maybe some other random times might be streaming some stuff. So that's Father Alan B, FRALANB, if you feel like tuning in to other times. So God bless you. Again, we're united, though this is a sad thing, heartbreaking thing not to be able to go to Mass and be in the church. We are making, as I said yesterday, lemonade out of lemons, using our best with the live streaming technology that we have. So this Mass was offered for everybody assisting at this Mass, so for all of you. So know that this Mass was offered for you, for your needs, spiritual and temporal, and for your intentions. And so I'll close out by saying, Dominus vobiscum,
Ecco Spiritu tuo,
benedicat vos, omnipotens Deus Pater, Filii, Spiritus Sanctus. Amen. Okay, God bless you all.
Gloria in excelsis Deo.